Peace and love on this January the 15th, 2021. Coming with more information. Um, just good to give information out, just bits and bits of random information because that's how your mind has to reprogram. You have to listen to probably sometimes the same information over and over again. It's how your mind reprogram. You don't learn your ABCs in one day, right? When they taught us the ABCs, we didn't just learn from A to Z already like that. We had to take our time with it. But once we eventually got it, we got it. So that's how awakenings is. Um, awakenings happening on its own. Everyone awakening on their own. Their subconscious mind is awakened on its own, right? You it just happens. It just happens. Like I said, you don't have to basically you can do nothing. You can just be one minute you just get tired and just wake up and say, I'm tired of shit of the system, and then you'll know your time. That's how it works. Um but I'm here to give information to keep the ones who's starting to awaken, and the ones who are awakened just continue to give information that we know and we share. And this is bits and bits of tip of the iceberg information. There's always in depth with what I'm speaking about because there's always something in depth with learning. So that's what I learned. Like, but I just give basic tip of the iceberg because that's how the awakening process starts. You got to start somewhere with your process. For me, I'm in a deeper depth process, but I'm helping giving information to the ones who trying to learn now. So, and as I continue to go over my videos, you'll start getting enhanced and more information because that's how it works. That's how it works. You learn more as you go along. That's how it works. So, information I'm going to give today more just the Last Supper, right? So the Last Supper in the Bible, we know the Last Supper, right? I'm gonna just get this bit of information to start off. The Last Supper um represents the seasons and the 12 zodiacs, right? The Last Supper. So we have um in the spring you have um Bartholomew, James, the younger one, and you have Andrew. So Bartholomew is represented by Aries. James, the younger brother James, is represented by Taurus, and Andrew is represented by Gemini. And that's in spring. In summer, you have Judas, Peter, and the Virgin Mary or slash John. So in the summer, in Cancer, Judas is represented by Cancer. Um, Peter is represented by Leo. Um, the Virgin Mary, the Virgos, is represented by the Virgin Mary slash John. I'm trying to figure out. I may have Judas. 'Cause I know the Lion of Judah. That's what they get that from. The Lion of Judah. That's the representative of Leo. So, but this is the Last Supper though. When I wrote this in 2019, so that's the summer. The summer is Judas is Cancer, Leo is Peter, and Virgo is the Virgin Mary. Then fall and autumn is Thomas, James, the oldest brother, and Philip. Thomas is represented by Libra. James, the oldest brother, is represented by Scorpio. And Philip is represented by Sagittarius. And then you have winter of Matthew, um, Thaddeus, and Simon. And Capricorn is represented by Matthew. Thaddeus is represented by Aquarius. And Simon is represented by Pisces. And then you have the sun, that SUN that we see every day. That's the light of the world. Without it, nothing can live. Okay. If the sun, that's the information. The sun, right now, that bright light that we see, if it stops 1.3 trillion of a second, everything on this planet will burn up. That's how powerful the universe has things just continuing in motion, right? And and I always say this too as well. If the sun doesn't come, it just decides not to come the next day for this side of the earth or whatever, everything will be frozen. Everything will die. You know, everything will eventually die, be frozen, be cold, and you can't survive like that. So that's why the sun is keeping everything alive. God's only sun. It's that simple. Like you will start to see now, since it's the winter solstice, you'll start to see. You'll see the dead leaves now. You don't see. You look outside, you see the trees, the leaves, and the grass is all brown, dead, and leaves all on the ground. And then as the seasons go on, the spring equinox comes, you'll start to see life again. Bees come out, the trees start regrowing again, flowers. You know, now said is you don't see these dead leaves having a memorial service. You know what I'm saying? They just die. That's how it works. They just die. The way of life, they just die. They're not having a memorial service and setting up funeral arrangements, all that stuff, all that. But anyway, but Jesus is represented by the Son. Those are the last the Last Supper is represented by the seasons, the 12 zodiacs. The spring is Bartholomew, represented by Aries. James, the younger brother, represented by Taurus. Andrew, represented by Gemini. The summer, Judas, represented by Cancer. Leo, represented by Peter. The Virgin Mary, represented by Virgo. The fall, Thomas, represented by Libra. James, the oldest brother, represented by Scorpio. And Philip, represented by Sagittarius. The winter, Matthew, represented by Capricorn. Thaddeus, represented by Aquarius. And Simon, represented by Pisces. And the sun is Jesus represents the sun. Right? That's what that is about. So, um, more information. I learned about money, right? So, money. You know how they say money is the root of all evil and all that stuff, but it's the way money is attraction. Money has a vibration. Everything has a vibration on here, and money hears and listens to you. You really have to think about it. Um, excuse me, but money really listens to you. You can really, it really hears and resonates with your vibration. Even though um, money is a game, if we go universal with this, money is a game. I say if you think about money and you compare that to the monopoly board, that's all it is about. It's about chips. Money got you have coins and dollars. You have the coins means chips. You know what I'm saying? And then it's all a game. Like we gotta give chips. I got all these chips, but I'm only gonna use it for certain things, and I'm gonna spend these chips for certain things and stuff like that. So you gotta think about it. But that's universally, money is just a game. It's not real to the sense, but in physical world to continue to attract money, you speak to it. It really is vibrational. That's why I do here in the spiritual, physical world, speaking to money. You know, you can speak to it like you love money. I love money. I attract money. Um, Money comes, money goes, money flows. Um, for me, I say things like that, and then the sense of and when money comes to me, um, I have like either some to save, some to spend, and you know what I mean, some things like that. So it's like money, you have to use it wisely, knowing that it's gonna come back. You know, whatever you spend it on, you gotta say, okay, um, well, I'll spend this money. For me, I'll say I'll spend this money, then um, it'll come back to me abundantly. That's how it works. You have to spend to gain. You know what I mean? You have to give to receive, receive to give. That's how it works. And because money is not going anywhere on this planet, but the generation of money is in a sense of like cryptocurrency. You gotta, like I said, that's gonna change. The currency of money is changing. The currency basically like it's not gonna be um it's not gonna be coins and dollars and bills. It's just gonna be currency and cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and things like that. And investing in silver and gold and things of that nature. You have to start that now. So, but with money now, what we have it now, just speak to an attraction and it'll come to you, you know, and know that money wants to be spent. You see SpongeBob, so that's why these cartoons tell stories. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs. Um, the episode when he got to talk to money and then they was good with him. Then soon later, money got tired. And money wanted to be spent. You see what I'm saying? He was greased. SpongeBob. I may get into that because I did wrote down. Speaking of that, I may let me give you that information now then because that's good that my spirit led me to that SpongeBob. There's a meaning to the SpongeBob character. So, but Mr. Crab is basically I'm gonna get into it. He was basically didn't want to give up the money, and the money was like, "Look, we want to be spun, man. You see what I'm saying? We want to be spun. We know we can come back. We come back and stuff in that nature, but he didn't want to give it up. That's what you call greed. So, um, let me see where the information I wrote about SpongeBob. Uh, I think this is right here. This should be well. I don't know if I can find it right now, but I'm gonna look. Yeah, that's it. Okay, SpongeBob, right? So that's what I said. I would get into these cartoons. So SpongeBob, if you really stop and think about it, now Sandy's tree dome. I had just was writing this back in 2019 in March, and I was thinking about SpongeBob. So Sandy's tree dome really is the flat Earth, and the her tree is the tree of life. It's like the middle. So because it has the dome over it, like the glass dome, and then the bottom of the sea is you break through the you break through her dome or whatever. It's water. Like right now, above this glass and all this is water. You say just water above waters, water above water, water below the earth, water above the earth. That's how her dome is in SpongeBob Sandy's tree dome. Just look at it. And then that's the reputation of flat Earth. So I also was learning her as um, she was from Texas, a squirrel from Texas. I learned the eastern gray squirrel is the only tree dwelling that make nests inside trees. That's the eastern gray squirrel. So you look up the eastern gray squirrels, the only tree dwelling squirrel that makes nests inside its tree. And that's what Sandy is, an eastern gray squirrel. And and we all know that Texas is the NASA shit, Houston, Texas. That's what the squirrel Sandy. That's why she into science with Houston and NASA. But see, she doing spiritual things in a way of the tree dome, how they doing it with spiritual, knowing what it's about. But she also doing with this system being with NASA and shit like that. But you got to look into it. So all right, let me get into that with the SpongeBob meaning of these characters, right? So SpongeBob, right? Like I was saying, it just came to me. SpongeBob characters, right? Um, they are representing the seven main characters of SpongeBob is basically Squidward, Gary, Sandy, Plankton, Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, Patrick, right? They are representing. They are the seven main characters. They are representing the seven deadly sins, right? Squidward is wrath. Squidward represents wrath. Gary represents gluttony. Sandy represents pride. Plankton represents envy. Mr. Krabs represents greed. SpongeBob represents lust. And Patrick represents sloth. Okay, those are the seven deadly sins. Wrath is Squidward. Gluttony is Gary. Pride is Sandy. Envy is Plankton. Greed is Mr. Krabs. Lust is SpongeBob. And sloth is Patrick. So the seven deadly sins are the seven main characters in SpongeBob. So that was that these cartoons are really um, solidifying things in the universe and telling these stories. And these people know that they have to tell stories and give you the information through these movies and cartoons and shows. The only way they'll do these shows and everything is by the universe. They have to know what's going on with the universe. How else can you know this stuff? You have to. It's as above, so below. So that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Um, so I'm gonna get this bit of information here. um, as I was speaking about money, right? So if you research um, the Aztecs, right? So the Aztecs, they basically back in the currency in the Mayan and Aztec societies. It's an article called Chocolate Class. Just research the worldpress.com and it's chocolate class. It says when money grew on trees, cocoa beans and currency in Mayan and Aztec societies. So what it's saying is basically, I'm just gonna headline is like money. We was not using coins, dollars, and all that for currency for money. That back then they used cocoa beans. So they'll have like, okay, let me use cocoa beans to trade for this or trade for that. I'm gonna give you some cocoa beans for some pots. They use or cocoa beans for some clothes. They use food to trade for items or other food items. Now it's all about currencies. That's why I say it's like you have to know about money. It's like money isn't everything. It's just here. You have to use it for a lot of things, but it's not everything. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. um, I'm gonna read a little bit of it. It says, man, it says, while the almanacs were the first civilians to consume coca, they used coca beans as culminated money began with the Maya, the true history of chocolate. Coca, coca originated from the Maya word Calcu, Calcu, held great religious, commercial, and even medical value for the Mayan. And surprisingly, the valuable combinator would naturally come to be used to a barter for other accommodations such as food, clothes, gems, and even slaves. They were also exchanged for luxurious goods and rare items such as jade, um, albiton, and ceremonial feathers. Um, Mayan farmers would strap baskets attached with Mecapala. Mecapala is Mecapal, a type of brand for securing baskets to the forehead, full of cocoa beans on their backs, or use canoes to transport the beans to trade for trade. Wealthy merchants would travel as far as Tayohanchana, Tayokan, with porters packed animals in or wheeled carts. So basically, like I was saying, they use cocoa beans um, for the currency of money. You know, they were saying right here, real quick, they said, in fact, by the time of the Spanish conquest in 1545, cocoa, cocoa beans outtrained gold dust as the primary currency in Mesoamerica. And before that said, the use of cocoa currency persisted as a widespread form of money beyond the Aztec times through the Spanish conquest Cornell period and far into the 19th century. So that was the use of money. I can go in depth. You got to just can go read it for yourself. It's the World Press, and it's the information about chocolate class when money grew on trees, cocoa beans as currency in Mayan Aztec societies. Just go research that, and you'll learn more about the currency of what they really was using instead of just money. So like I was doing the cartoons, this whole I want to just say this real quick before I wrap this up. The whole George Floyd scripted thing that was if you people try to figure out what it was representing. Like I said, it was representing the age of Aquarius, the new age of Aquarius. If you look at how he was bent on his neck, and then you look at a picture of the man bearing a pitcher of water. That's what he was doing. The man in blue, um, the black sun. This is how they do it. This bullshit. But it's all that, like I said, everything's above, so below. But for the cartoon wise, um, if you research, we look at Simpsons did a lot of predictions throughout their years and stuff, but is in depth with it at times. Sometimes you got to go in depth. One time, I guess they had somebody that drew a picture of the George Floyd and things like that, but it was a fake shit. So that made me research that when they had did it at the time, because they had like the Simpsons had made an episode about that, in which it wasn't. So that made me research. Okay, they know they did some type of episode. Then some episode, what you gonna have to look up. So I researched you research um, the itchy and scratchy. That is what the George Floyd whole thing is representing as well. The itchy and scratchy episode called Black and Blue Swan, The Simpsons. So if you research The Simpsons, then it's an episode, the Black and Blue Swan. That's one of the itchy and scratchy episodes. That's itchy and scratchy is I don't watch Simpsons like that. I never really too much did, but itchy and scratchy is the mouse and the blue mouse and the black cat. You see what I'm saying? So you go to the itchy and scratchy. Itchy is the blue mouse, and scratchy is the black cat. So that's what George Floyd and that whole white officer bullshit, all that whole George Floyd scripted bullshit was planned out. So it was the itchy and scratchy episode of let me see, the Black and Blue Swan. That's what it was about. That was the episode called Black and Blue Swan. It was Simpson episode. The episode was called the 10% Solution. That's the episode, Simpson's 10% Solution. And title pun is Black Swan. So I guess in that episode they'll end up showing um, probably Bart watching his favorite cartoon, the Itchy and Scratchy, and that episode of that is the Black and Blue Swan. That is the George Floyd case bullshit. That's what it's about. So, because this is what it says. It came out in year 2011, right? That's what it says. And it said a symphonist is Itchy and Scratchy perform ballet. Itchy spins Scratchy so fast that only half of his skeleton is left by the time Itchy finishes. So half of his skeleton is left. So just look into that episode of the uh, the 10% solution on The Simpsons. The year it was year 2011. The Black and Blue Swan, the Itchy and Scratchy episode. So you will see, like I said, these cartoons, they've been telling stories. We know that, but you gotta look in depth in what they're saying. You can't just say, oh, this and that, oh, this and that, oh, this and that, and then just go on. Like you gotta go into it at times and then give the information, but keep going in with your journey of this shit. Cause it's more system. That's how they're gonna keep coming with it. More system stuff, more things gonna keep coming out that you can know in all these movies, all these shows and cartoons. We all watched it back in our days. You have to sometimes go back. Sometimes go back and see the cartoons that we watched back in the days in our younger generation. Now, just catch up to now. It's all the same. So that's all the information I have for today. Really, it's just basic. It's good to give information with all love, peace, and oneness every time I can, and um in every way I can. I love doing it my ways. Everybody got their own way of giving information. You know, um, like I said, if I'm giving information. The information I give is information you can give someone else, but you can give it in your own way. And then we just passing on information. That's how it works. So it's all peace and love always. Remembering that we are the gods and goddesses on this planet. To remember that to always love yourself, respect yourself, and know yourself. Those once you know yourself, love yourself, respect yourself, and become a god and goddesses, then everything changes. Um, everything changes, and there's no going back. Once you put on the goggles or the glasses, and you open up that activate that third eye, and you really really go in depth with your journey, there's no going back. And you don't want to go back because it's amazing how this journey continues. So continue to learn thyself, know thyself, love thyself, and respect thyself, and always peace and love always, and enjoy your self journey always. So